And we are live, thank fuck it is Friday. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm saying that. How is everyone? Welcome, welcome, welcome. As everybody says, we have got a guest tonight, Liam from Highland Paranormal.
Yep.
Thank you very much for joining us. So how is everyone?
Fantastic intro there. Well, lovely that was. That was like an intro from Magic Roundabout, was it? Yeah.
It was a bit of a
Bill and Ben.
I thought it was Bill and Ben.
Bill and Ben, aye.
See, you have got to get me kicked off a group because I've just shared the link. Because I'm too busy looking at you guys, I've shared the link to somewhere I shouldn't have.
Stop talking yourself.
Oh, I'm demented already. Talk amongst yourselves while I concentrate on the old sharing.
Yeah, well, my week's been up and down all over the place. Supposed to have gone for lazy yesterday, and they cancelled on me, didn't they? So I wasn't very pleased. I even told receptionist I almost swore at it. So that's very naughty, isn't it? But yeah,
I know.
I went out and had a drink last night to, so the calm down.
I know. Your net came on my live last night.
She's a wild one. Dark one, definitely.
What you like? What about you, Ian?
Yeah, not a bad week. It's
not a bad week.
Usual you get working in a school, but there you go.
Awesome. What about yourself, Liam? How's your week been?
Oh, it's been okay. I'm glad it's Friday though. Glad it's Friday.
Best day of the week. Right, guys, I'm gonna hit a few comments. Hey, Lawrence. Hey, Nigel from the North Pole. He's doing great. Hey, Tim. Hey, Helen. Hi, Eileen. Hey, Eric. And everybody's here. So, Liam, floor is yours. Tell us about yourself and how you get into the paranormal.
I'm Liam from Highland Paranormal, co-founder. Group's been going for about 14 years now. We kind of got into always been kind of in the Highlands. You're brought up with the folk stories, the ghost stories, and stuff like that. So then started watching Ghost Hunters, Most Haunted, and thought, I want to give this a go.
Oh, sorry, I said that too loud.
Yeah, no, you're all right. I'm ashamed of that one now.
So you learned how not to do things.
Yeah. I mean, so there was a guy in Edinburgh wanting to set up a second group in Inverness. So a bunch of us got together. It didn't work out, so we set up our own group, and we just kind of gone from strength to strength. So we're actually now part of TAPS. We're part of the TAPS family. So we're kind of we follow the kind of same ethos as them. We try to debunk. We're a non-profit and whatnot. But yeah, so it's, as I said, it's been brilliant. We've got into some brilliant locations over the years up here. Met some wonderful people as well. So yeah, it's great. Really enjoy it.
That's always a good thing. Hey Rita, Eileen, you talk for yourself. Do you know something? I'll give you a wee shocker here. I've never watched a ghost show. I've actually never Most Haunted. I've never watched one episode of Ghost Hunter, Ghost Adventure. Sorry, no.
Yeah, don't worry, we have noticed.
Fuck you, English. Now you've put me off my stride, you dick. Obviously, I have watched 28 Days Haunted, and I really, really enjoyed Shane Pittman. That sounds so wrong on so many levels. What I mean is,
was that the one with the Was that the one with the helmet?
Yeah.
That had the helmet, didn't it? Yeah. Sorry, they lost me at the helmet. They lost me at the helmet part.
I think the one that I really enjoyed, because I love like true crime and serial killers, I really enjoyed them. Cheeky bitch, that Eileen. Obviously, I like serial killers, so Brandy, Brandy, and this demonologist was doing where Charles Lawson was, the gentleman that killed his whole family. So that I found that really quite interesting. But that's as far as it goes. I prefer to watch the real deal, like watch people like Rigger, people who do lives. You know, I like watching. Sorry, one of my cats is at its shenanigans. But I like watching. As I said, like real. Like it's great to show your viewers that you can go to locations, you can go to buildings, and you get nothing, because that's showing the people out there really when you're investigating, you can go to buildings. I've sat in buildings for 6-7 hours and walked away with very little, and actually borderline nothing. But I understand that they've got to do it for entertainment purposes, because really, who's going to sit and watch a programme on the TV and see nothing?
Yeah.
So
that's why I've always said that there should be a clear-cut distinction, and at the beginning of everything that's for entertainment, they should state that, and then you get that clear-cut difference between proper investigation and for show purposes.
I think TV-wise now in the UK, it's law. They've got to put that disclaimer at the front of every paranormal show now. Yeah, totally. I mean, if you actually watch the early Most Haunted, some of them were actually pretty boring. They didn't get much before the real shenanigans that they now carry on now.
The first series, they were actually genuine, weren't they?
Yeah, and then they realised nobody was watching. So they tapped their game a bit.
To be fair, you are pushing me in maybe to watch season 1. That's all I can stretch it to. Maybe stretch to the one programme.
Hilarious, because Yvette Fielding was afraid of the dark.
Yeah.
And they actually shut her in one of the most active rooms in a house on her own, and it was hilarious.
Island says they've no got electricity or TV in Straven, cheeky woman. The God Helmet, oh dear.
That was the God Helmet, wasn't it, from the 28 Days Haunted?
Hiya, Tim. I watch all the real killers too. I love the forensic. So do I.
Yes.
Hey, Richard.
What is it about women and serial killers?
Yeah, Lois the trainee one.
Lindsay is in our team. She's the same. She's addicted to serial killers shows.
Yeah, I must admit I'm the same. The screaming, I'll scream and scream. Drives me bonkers. Says Helen. Poor Helen. But yeah, we're all good, Richard. But yeah, it started for me really when it was my gran, and we used to watch serial killer things, and it started off with Target. Come on, who hasn't seen Target?
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
I've actually drunk with Mark McManus when I was up in Glasgow.
Oh, you lucky devil.
Friend of my uncle's.
So, Liam, tell us about your favourite location.
Oh, it's difficult to pick one. We used to have a house in Inverness called Touchwood House. Sadly, the owner passed away last year. She was a good friend of the team, a supporter of the team. She was a practicing witch, and she was just a magical human being. And I think spirits were attracted to the house as a result of that, to be perfectly honest. And it even had a house elf. And I kid you not, there was a house elf in the house. I never saw it, but medium that we worked with did. He didn't know about it at the
Wow.
time. He goes, "Oi, what just passed me? I've no idea what it was, but it was a little, a little green man kind of thing." And then a few years ago, Alan Cummings and Miriam Margolyes did a show for Channel 4, and they actually stayed at Touchwood House. And we were invited along, and as TV things go, they never go to plan, so there's delays and delays. So we were talking to a couple of the previous staff that had worked there, and without us prompting them, they came up and said, "Oh, and yeah, the little green man." But I've seen full body apparitions in there. I've seen shapes. I've seen balls of light flashing. One of my favorite stories is Susan, the owner, at times she phones me up and says, "There's no one in the house. I found a shiny 1p piece sitting on a chair in the Great Hall." So I came in a couple of days later being very skeptical about the whole thing. She says, "I've got the coin." She puts it down. She says, "Do you know the strange thing is?" She says, "It's like a brand new coin, but it's from like 1995. So she put it down on the chair. She says, "That's what it was." We looked down, we looked back up again. You'd think it'd be a scabby coin, wouldn't it? She says. We looked down again, and next to the shiny 1p piece now was a scabby 1p piece. Go figure that.
Wow.
Just an unbelievable house, but she was just an unbelievable woman. I mean, she believed in the wee folk as well, and she told a brilliant story about having a guest there one night, and there's the big lawn at the back of the house. They were sitting out having a glass of wine, and this sort of low mist came across the lawn, and she said, "Oh, it's a good night for the wee folk," and he laughed. The guy laughed. He says, "You don't believe that rubbish, do you?" And just as he finished the sentence, a stone was thrown at his shin. From there you go. So that's my favourite place. That was definitely my favourite place. But places like we've been lucky enough. Inverary Jail was amazing. Castle Fraser in Aberdeenshire. We were there last year. We're going back this year again. Some brilliant locations. But like you say, you go to some locations and you get absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
it's a really mixed bag.
I'm really fascinated with, and I don't know if you've actually been, Liam, Lennox Castle.
No, I haven't. No.
Oh my God, I highly recommend it. It's like, see, the atmosphere for day to night. Don't get me wrong, it's a huge hill to get up to because it's next to Celtic's training ground.
Right.
And the hill was literally, honestly, it was so funny because I've investigated with Scott from Paranormal and History, and the ironic thing was I didn't tell him how steep the hill actually was, and then the hill was like right, and I mean the hill is right proper steep to get up, but it's well worth it because once you get to the top of the hill, all you go is just like along and you're there. And I've been there a few times. I've even done like Robbie Crossing. I used to investigate with Robbie Crossing, Stephen Daly, a few others. I've been out with Rigger, Spig, and actually I've been out with Scottish Paranormal at Dundonald Castle. But yeah, Lennox Castle is well worth it. I'd definitely recommend you check it out, Liam.
Yeah, well, we're planning kind of doing a few venturing further afield in the next year or so. So we're already looking like Edinburgh for a wee trip to Edinburgh. Probably be next year now because we're just kind of so busy. Ended up being so busy towards the end of this year. But yeah, looking forward to getting down. And I want to go to Necropolis in Glasgow. Never been, but I'm desperate to go there.
One of the places I would love to go in, that's is on my list. Edinburgh, I've investigated. Eileen, you maybe know this. Where the old Reekie Tours is, right on the same road. I've investigated the nightclub, the Hive. It's just old Reekie Tours is literally there. And then the Hive is literally just like, I think, 3-4 doors up from the thing. I used to be with Ghost Hunter Scotland. It was Ghost Hunter Scotland that I did it with. They were asked to go and investigate. I loved it. It's got a big dance floor, don't get me wrong. I loved it. for what I could remember, it was okay. Like, you didn't get really much evidence that, like, I would boost, but I really did enjoy just being there. And even at the back where they've got the bar, one of the bars, it's beautiful in there because you've got like the cave. It's like in a cave shape. And Edinburgh's the only place that I know that sells Buckfast. In that nightclub, that was one of the things I clocked.
Classy.
Oh well, I you know that way where you're kind of having a wee look about yourself and you're supposed to be investigating, and it was just when I looked over at like they had a list of what they sell, and I looked at AJ and I looked at the board and I was like, Buckfast, AJ, do you sell Buckfast in here? And he was like, yeah, we sell Buckfast, and I was like, holy shit! I says I need to come here for a night out.
That's Scotland's second national drink after Iron Brew, isn't it? Buckfast.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not allowed, but I'm not allowed Buckfast in my house.
Yeah, she's bad enough on Iron Brew.
I don't like you. But yeah, so I've used gentlemen. Hi, I've used gentlemen. Get any questions for Liam?
Well, I was just going to say, actually, if you are coming down this way, South Yorkshire, check out Spofford Castle and Bolsover.
Oh, awesome. Well, yeah, we will. I mean, we've got friends. There's Tarps Group, they're in West Yorkshire. They're out of Leeds, Jason and his team. So we're good friends with them. So, we've talked about linking up with them as well and whatnot. It's all logistics. It's all money as well, and it's the problem with them. Being in the Highlands is brilliant. If you want to go anywhere else, it's a bit of a trek. So yeah, it's it kind of does limit what you can and can't do. But we're doing what we can. But yeah, we've already actually put dates in for Edinburgh for next year. We thought, right, going to do it, get them in. We've talked about it for long enough. But yeah, I definitely want to come down to Glasgow as well and go further afield. We've been talking about it as a group that we've going a few jollies here and there.
Yeah. It's always good. I'm going to quickly run through these comments because they're building. Helen says, a murder. Isla says, I need real murder tips for when I go through my hit list. We'll talk after the show, Eileen. I'll be in your DMs. There's been a murder. Lawrence, we will all miss Susan so much. Eileen says it was very sad when Susan passed. Eric wants a house elf now. Island's off to Inveraray.
She's
Have
very
a good
lucky.
one, honey.
Yeah, good one. I'm looking forward to hearing what you get because Inveraray Jail are actually stopping doing ghost hunts. We've been there the last couple of years. I believe they've got a new escape room coming along, and they're going to do that rather than doing the ghost investigation. Which is such a shame because it is such an active building. So I can't wait to hear how Eileen and the guys get on tomorrow.
Oh God! Hey Holly, Eileen says, "Give me the heads up, and I'll get the banshee for us." She said, "Aye." Laura says, "Hey guys, just want to say thank you, Lois, for singing Happy Birthday to me last night." That's fine, darling. Just sorry it was as late as it should have been. Lawrence said, we'll be happy to investigate with you and your team. I love her. Oh, that's dead sweet. Take a walk on the dark side, Luby. Don't you tempt me. Nick says, hey guys, I'll be on shortly. Hurry up, Boyle. Hey Justin, he says, hi. I'm itching to get to the UK next year, says Eric. And as Eileen says, yep, they are escape room now. And it's so sad when it happens to these places because I've investigated Stirling Jail, and as I said before, I wasn't overly enamoured with it because it wasn't really an investigation in the full place. It was just like 2 floors because you weren't allowed in the middle because it's council offices. So I was quite disappointed. I still got a wee bit of, obviously, some sort of evidence, but it was just that way where it was kind of like I was expecting more.
Yeah.
And I bet you all the activity is in the middle in the bloody council offices. That one was.
You were saying, asking for activity, and all the chairs and the desks were getting mixed up.
Aye, we were like in the.
What the hell's going on here?
That was the night, right? I did an EVP, and because I felt like I was getting sedated at the top, came back down, felt fine, went back up, felt the same, come back down. And I thought maybe it had been the fact that I hadn't eaten much that day or drank much that day. So I had a drink, went back up, no, I don't feel right. And then I thought to myself, that's quite weird that I'm going up to the top and I feel like I'm being sedated. And I'm going back down and I feel great, I feel fine. So I said, can I have the EVP? So it was on the Panasonic. I love the Panasonic. And I ended up, I said, is this where you got sedated? And I played the Panasonic back in the turn room, and the voice was, fuck you, you bastard. Well, we broke as a team. We were howling with laughter because it was so clear. Like, it was like, oh my God, you can't mistake what I've just been told. And I was howling with laughter, crying. The tears were coming down my eyes. I'm trying to do more EVPs. I couldn't do it for laughing. And I'm saying to Spirit, I'm sorry. I'm not being disrespectful. It's no disrespect for yous. And I'm trying to do you know what? That one was just the best EVP I've ever had. It was just clear as day. Fuck you, you bastard. And I was like, what? But that's what you expect for a jail. But
yeah,
I wasn't expecting to go in there and say, hey, how are you? I'm fine. As I said to stuff, sorry, a cheek. The same island's the same as me, not over like in Stirling jail. Weird setup, my middle floor's been offices. I know Eileen, it was a pain in the arse. And Justice says, interested to know your thoughts about Glamorous Castle.
I've not been to Glams. I mean, I've in fact, I was watching a documentary the other night, and Glams is always on every Scottish haunted castle list. I think it's been investigated by quite a few of the TV shows and that over the years as well. Certainly appears to have activity. And they've got that stones as well that seem to make people ill, and whatnot. But yeah, not actually, investigated it myself. But every castle's got a green lady who's always been murdered by the lord of the house, the lord of the manor. I think in fact, I don't think it's even a Scottish thing. I think it's a British thing that every castle's got a green lady. She's been murdered because basically she's either the wife who can't give him a baby, or she's the maid who has given him a baby. So it's one or the other. And in many cases, when you look back, there's no historical proof. Though at Glams, I believe there is the history to back.
Down here, they tend to be white or grey ladies.
Right. Okay. Well, we've got at least one grey lady in Inverness, but green's the preferred colour up here.
Yeah. That'd be a Celtic thing.
Must be. Maybe they're Irish. I don't know.
That's something to do with methane as well.
But don't say that. You'll have all the Rangers fans on here booing.
Yeah, that'll be my mother then.
Hi, Noreen. Justin says most Scottish EVP ever. That does. You better believe it, Justin.
If you don't get the F word in it, it's fake.
I know. That's what I say. Eileen says I've been called worse by spirited Jedbra. Eileen wants to do Faith, and Nori says don't leave the white ladies. You've not to leave the white ladies out.
Yeah, there's plenty of them down this way.
So,
we
Ian,
might do 5e. We might do 5e next year, Eileen. You never know.
that would be awesome. Sounds awesome. So, Ian, are you got any questions, honey?
Or if there was any place, money no object, to investigate, where would you choose?
Oh, I always get asked this question. I can never answer it. There's too many.
Yeah, I have. I've always had one, but that's changed recently.
Right. Oh God. Yeah. It really is difficult. I mean, I'd love to go Dracula's castle. Yeah, I'd love to go there. So I think if I was really put on the spot, it would be Transylvania, and it would be, Vlad's castle. Yeah.
This is a one that fascinates me as well, because there is actually quite a few. There's the official places, but there's the other places. There's places in Carlsbad apparently as well. So, where would you actually go? I think for me, it'd have to be the clearing in this dense woods. I can't remember its name, and I think that's near where you were on about, Liam. I can't remember the name on it. I'll have to look it up. But it's just a clearing, and that apparently is supposed to be where the cave was originally.
Right.
It is no more, but it was a cave apparently in the middle of these woods, dense woods, where they did the deed.
Right. Mm.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's one place that.
Sorry.
Hey.
Yeah.
No.
It was always Waverley Hills, and recently, I still want to do Waverley Hills, but Heritage Square has sort of piqued my interest,
right?
Because they've moved to those wicked houses to one location, haven't they?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. But yeah, I would have said Waverley Hills at one point. Waverley Hills I did. When I first started podcasting, I was no long with Simply Spooky, and me and Nick, Ashley was actually on the new. We did a thing with a guy called Ernie Park, and it was Save the Waverley Hills, because at that point they were talking about closing it all together. And we actually did this special with that show. I can't find that show. That's broke my heart, because I went to show my friend about it, because it was actually a really, really good show, a really informative show. But now, like yourself, Liam, there's so many places out there, and it's not like you've got I'm sort of shying away from your well-known ones and kind of want to go to the ones that like people don't really look at, like the other places round about. I'll tell you, I'm quite fascinated, and I would love your opinion. And it's not on what we were talking about backstage, but Overton Bridge, the bridge where the dog suicide.
Yeah.
See, I'm fascinated with this because, and again, you guys will be like, this come up. Don't know what my tablet was doing there. That you'll say this comes back to your serial killer. It's not a serial killer. It's an incident that happened. But I sort of have the questions about it, because it's quite ironic that it just happens to be the same side, right? So for people that don't know, this bridge is dog suicide, right? All dogs jump off the right side of the bridge. I think there's some, like, the last that I read was it was well over the 1,000 mark anyway, that a lot of dogs do, is when they go right over the bridge. So in 1992, it was either 92 or 94, a gentleman threw his 2-year-old off the bridge, and it just happened to be on the same side as where the dogs would go. So it's left me. Some people have reported that, like, I've had friends that have investigated it that say they felt nothing, that they don't think there's nothing there. And then I've had other people that turned in and had different experiences, and felt quite drawn towards the right side of the bridge. So it's like one of those ones. Hi, Nick.
What's up?
Nick, this is Liam. Liam, this is Nick.
Hi, Nick.
Nick's always late. He sees the show and he's like, screw coming on at 8. I'll just come on at past.
That's the trendy way.
Nice to meet you, Liam. But no, it's actually because I got home from work not too long ago.
Aye, yes, I love you really, but so I question, because obviously this gentleman went to court and was found because his mental health, he got indefinite in Carstairs. The guy is actually still in Carstairs to this day. So it kind of makes me wonder. It's a hard one to say because you feel like it's probably sounds as nuts as it does, but you just often wonder, is there that tad bit of paranormal?
Yeah, it's also known that there's more than that. There's a few people gone over that one as well, as far as I recall. And I've seen the bridge as well, and there seems to be a little bit of a if you could explain a bridge, I'm in a bay window. It's like a little recess where they can stand in when traffic's coming over the bridge. And it's that point that they go over. It is a weird one, definitely a weird one. And I think there's more at play than just one phenomena. I think there's more than one phenomena, definitely. Something going off audio-wise to attract dogs for a start. And I think it's audio beyond what we can hear, obviously, or most of us can hear. The fact that there is people that's going over this bridge as well says that it's not confined to just dogs. So
this is very true. I'm going to quickly run through the comments. Helen says, "Are black dogs?" Eileen says, "Oh, road trip." And she says, "Where are you, wee Eileen?" Your comment. Lots of organising paranormal packages to Drax House and Woods. Eric says, "I've decided to make a Dragon Kill remake pod next month." And a Dragon Skull as well. Hullaboot is the Woodbrae. Dog Bridge, Overton Town by Dumbarton. I wanted to say Dunfermline, but I knew it was either Dunfermline or Dumbarton. I just couldn't quite think. Rita says hi, so does Eileen, and Eileen says poor mental health issues and some knowledge of the story influenced them. I know it's quite a weird one. It's quite a weird one, that one. But yeah, I would love to go and personally check out the bridge myself and see what obviously I get. But I wouldn't take an animal with me, definitely not.
I'd have to strap me ass to the bridge.
Well, there's always that. There's always that.
Yeah, we'll send her there. We're attached to a bungee rope. We can have a laughing.
Yeah.
And I don't. Used to Nick, sort these bastards out. You're just in, sort them out. Right. Give me 2 minutes, guys, and I'll be back with you.
Yeah, so it's one of them things, isn't it? It's what do you believe, or you know what I mean? You see, a lot of it theatre. There's got to have been something that actually went off for it to be noted, and get passed around paranormal world. But how much of it is actual fact? Like you say, I mean, that I suppose, Liam, is a lot of what you do is the research to make it worthwhile.
Yeah. I mean, you obviously, you anywhere you're going, you're researching where you're going and looking to make sure that you can validate the stories as best you can. I mean, that bridge it's kind of world famous in the paranormal community. And the number of dogs that have gone off on it. And I'm quite sure, though, I mean, and not taking dogs aside in that from a human point of view, psychologically, there is this, if you go to a location where something is reported, some people will have that experience.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to be influenced. We changed even the way we approached investigations because we were seeing that it was influencing team members. So what we would do is when we go, the only person that would know the research to the building would be the researcher, and if they weren't on site, it would be the team lead to start the evening off. And that way, there'd be no influence on the rest of the team. And you then weren't going down singular routes going, oh, yeah, well, this is what I'm looking for tonight. Definitely this is what I'm looking for. And the other thing is you shut yourself off to everything else that way. But the bridges, it's a weird one.
Pretty much what I do. I don't research anything. I like to go in blind and then validate it afterwards if I've picked anything up. Anyway, evening, Nick. Is there anything that you would like to ask Liam?
Not as of right now, because I've been trying to catch up with everything. But eventually, I'll have some questions. So right now, I'm just gonna kind of listen in.
No, yeah, absolutely. You've not missed much. We've just been really just asking Liam about what he likes and how he get into paranormal. And I've had some cheek after Eileen.
Basically, the typical questions, as it sounds like.
Yeah, do you know what? It's just a typical Friday night, Nick. It's a typical Friday night.
Yeah.
Oh, Eileen's going to hold me back. Oh, you're a babe. She says, I like to do research in order to validate evidence as it presents. Here's a question for you, Liam. Do you like to do your research? You're like that. What are you going to ask me? What? Look, you that Eileen Murray. Wait till you come on my show. Here's a question for you. Do you like to do your research after or before an investigation?
We were just saying that normally we do it before, but we changed our approach in the fact we don't tell everybody. So if we've got a medium working with us, we don't tell the medium anything. The only time we would tell the medium anything is if we were going to somewhere where people were reporting bad things happening. We would give the medium a wee bit of a heads up to say, look, just be on your guard tonight. But we wouldn't go into details. But we've had our mediums turn up at a location and go, the best one ever was, oh, for God's sake, I grew up in the house next door.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That was the good thing. The medium was always honest. And if we went to another time, we went to a house where we knew that something very notorious had happened in the building in the 1970s. And again, he just basically said, oh, fuck's sake. He says, I know what happened in this building. He says, and, you know, but that was good because, you know, we always knew where we stood with him because he was always, if he knew something about a building or that, he would hold his hand up before we even entered the building and say, look, I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do like to know, one, for the safety of the team, just in case there is anything nasty. So I mean, we've never really come across anything nasty, to be perfectly honest. We've dealt with a lot of people. Sorry, Nick.
No, I was going to say, I could actually relate to you on that because I do a lot of the research myself, although still to this day, I usually conduct a lot of the history prior to an investigation. Now, if we got other team members that don't want to know about it, of course, obviously, I have no objection to that. You know, I'm saying that's fine, you know, because what I'll usually do on a lot of occasions, like for those who want to hear about it prior to the investigation, including myself personally, you know, because I'm doing the research, I would have that group of individuals with and leave the other ones who don't want to know anything prior but want to know afterwards, you know, out of the group. Not as, you know, as a form of separation, but just so that way I can get almost agreements from both sides, like where you have people who want to know beforehand and then there's others who want to know afterwards.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, as I said, it's
also
like to have it because actually, if you go to some locations and nothing's happening, and if nothing's happening, you've got that research then to kind of fall back on to a certain extent to see if that then does trigger anything. But
Yeah.
you know that you always hold the names and everything back. You know, it's not something we'd never go into a location and straight away start going on banging on the names from a list or anything like that. They'll always be later in it. But yeah, and there's nothing better, and I'm quite sure everybody will agree, than when you get something, you go back, you research it, and it's a direct hit. It gives me goosebumps every time.
Yeah.
So what would you class yourself as, Liam? Would you say that you're a psychic, medium?
No, God, no. Just a skeptical believer now. I mean, I started off, I was very much the gadget guy, very influenced by ghost hunters and taps. Over the years, I've become a bit cynical towards equipment. I think a lot of equipment is just people spending big bucks with no real solid evidence that they can do anything. I still will use equipment, but yeah, I'm always looking for logical, and 9 times out of 10, I find a logical explanations, and 9 times out of 10, I piss the client off because they're wanting a ghost and they're not getting a ghost. But we have to be true to ourselves, and I mean that's you know, as we said, 9 times out of 10, it is nothing. You know,
and that is
what the ghost, Liam. You know, when we do a house clearance, we got to send them somewhere so we can send them off to your clients if you like.
Yeah. And it's not just that as well. Oh, sorry, God's sake. It's not. I know it's like you could hear you. It's like, at least it's not my voice. Thank Christ, I hate my voice. So yeah, as I was saying, it is quite funny because when you go into, I have done private cases as well. I've done a couple, and one of them, I just think the person was lonely. I just think the person was just hoping there was something, but I think it was more for company. And you will find, I'm sure you guys that's done private cases, you'll find some sort of person that just wants a company, and in a way it's a shame because you're saying to yourself, oh my God, you feel kind of bad, and then the other way when they ask you, what have you got? You're like, nothing. I've got nothing to show you.
You get the people that, well, yeah, there's a slight bit of paranormal activity in the house, and then everything else is as well.
See, that's
paranormal activity.
Yeah. Oh, but my loft hatch is rattling. Well, it's a windy day. My house is cold, but it's a bloody winter.
Yeah.
I'm just going to run through these comments. Some folk will play up if they know too much. That's so true. Hi, Chantel. Eddie says, can't say that, Liam, considering what happened to you the other day. Hey, Vaughn. Isla says, as long as you don't twist the evidence to fit on your take on things. Everybody's saying hi to Vaughn. Hey, Nicola. And I have put Liam's paranormal website. Go check him out, definitely. It's well worth it and highly recommended, especially by us.
Thank you.
Eric
was I was going to say that Eric's pointed out something. Yeah, I should say, because you were saying, I don't class myself as a medium or anything like that, but occasionally I get affected, and I was affected pretty badly. Most recently at a place called Down House in Port Soy. A few people have been affected in the same room, and it's not the first time. Normally it's nausea and a headache is what I get, and I can step out of the room and I'm fine. I can normally go back into the same room and I'm fine. Well, this time it was nausea, it was the headache.
Oh my God.
We were doing an event, the guests are going, all the colour's draining out of you. I think you've got to leave the room. And then I'm getting heart palpitations, and I'm thinking, no, gee, I'm in trouble here.
Geez.
So I left the room, and I was in a daze for about 10 minutes. And I'm sure you guys get it as well, what we call a paranormal hangover the next day.
Oh, yeah.
I had a 2-day one. 2 days. I've never had 2 days before. And it has actually questioned how I approach things, because it was like, it was a bit crazy what was intense. But do you know what was really impressive? As I ran out of energy, all the equipment in the room came to light.
Oh, holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, that was worth it, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, something like
Um,
that is totally worth, even when you get the hangover the very next day.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah.
there's just certain things that's totally worth doing, or experiencing something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and we
I
definitely
always
think
did.
that's what it was doing.
What do you find the cause of it, Liam? I mean, personally, most of the time when that sort of thing happens, it's usually because we're on a magnetic line or a ley line of some sort.
I honestly don't know. It's a really strange one because it happened, and at the time I didn't know it happened to other people, in the same kind of spot in the room. So that could make perfect sense. What you're saying, that there was something, going on in that particular room that actually could be explained. I've gone to another location though where I've experienced similar, taken myself away, gone back in again, been absolutely fine, come out again,
Worse than that.
gone there in another day.
Yeah.
And there was one night where we were at, it was an event, we actually were doing an event in this building as well, same part of the building, 7 women, 4 men, all 4 men had nausea, headaches, had to leave the building, had to actually leave the building. We're all sitting outside trying to get fresh air. The women were fine.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just a man thing, but as Tim said, worse than an alcohol hangover. Do you know what? For me, when I get paranormal hangovers, they honestly feel like I've just done night shift. Like, honestly, I feel dead. Ugh. I think the worst I've ever felt, and I don't know, Liam, if you've ever investigated in Peoples.
No, not that far south. No.
It's known as a witchcraft town, and round that area is quite really active because I've been to 2 places and they've been really, really active. I went to a hotel called Barnley Castle, and honestly, the sign on the door just makes me laugh every time I talk about it. The sign on the door says, "Be prepared to meet thy God," and literally, I laugh every time that I see it because all I could think about is like the Titanic, because it was something like seriously. So I had obviously first ever investigation that I've ever done. So I went to this like hall, and I just refused point blank to go down it. I'm gonna go down that hall. Why not? I just feel too anxious and I just can't do it. I don't actually want to go down that hall. And Alex calmed me down and he said, "What's wrong? What is it you're sensing?" And I said, "Well, there's been a fire." And I went, "It was either in that room or that room." I said, "There's been a fire." I says, I can't do this." And it turned out there was a fire. And then the night on the investigation, we did the hotel and we were allowed to do outside. There was parts that we could do. And we got to this bit and I kept when I get my attention drawn somewhere, I'm a wanderer. I tend to go where I feel I need to go. So they were in one room and I kept colliding into the other room. And obviously Alex Dorans, he's a good guy, Ghost Hunters Scotland. So obviously he says, "What are you sensing?" And I kept saying nothing. He says, "No, what are you sensing?" And I was like, "I need to go and get that EVP. I need to go and get." He says, "Well, go and get it." And I went and got it off this psychic. She wasn't nice. I didn't like her. And it's just her whole mannerisms and the way she spoke to spirit and all. So obviously I got the EVP off her and I stood like in the middle of the room. And for what I could see, as strange as it is, I could see like it used to be a cell and there was somebody in the cell. They got put in there for whatever reason. And obviously I'm getting the swing of things. So I asked the spirit, I said, you were put in here innocently, came back, yes. You don't want to be here, no. And I could see markings on the wall, and I'll never forget it. Because when I was on the swing of things, and I was getting the responses, what happened, Alex says, it's time to pack up to go. My days, I'm like, I'm on a roll here. But one of the other women turned around and said to me, like, how did you know all that? And I said, I don't know. I can't explain that. I can't explain how I'm getting responses. It's the same as when I was out the. I don't think Jacqueline Dixon was there, or she could have been. But I went out with the Paranormal Footprints ladies, and we went to a location, and they said to me, what do you think of this location? And I suddenly said that I felt like I just wanted to rock a baby. And I was singing, and I walked towards the window. I said, I just feel like I want to fall out the window. And they were like, holy shit. And I was like, what? They were like that. A woman died with her baby. She jumped out the window. And I was like, again, it gives you goosebumps. See, every time that happens. And it's not like I do the research. I don't believe in doing the research like yourself till after. I would rather see. This is why I want to go back to the old school investigating rather than using the equipment. If I have to really using the equipment, then it'll be a push. But I want to go back to old school of we've got senses. Everybody has senses. It's whether you choose to use them or not. And I was told that off by somebody.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard that a lot. And I think the more you open yourself up, the more you do it, the more it happens. And I think that's probably why I get affected. I've been getting affected more recently than I have previously. I mean, I don't sense anything. I can go into a room and tell if a room's got a high EVP field. I can walk into a room and it will feel oppressive and I'll have a headache within 20 minutes. But then I'll take my meter out and I'll go, yeah, you've got really bad wiring. But so I do kind of sense that, but I don't sense anything. But it's fascinating to watch that and watch other people do it. We did Abertarf House last week, and it's the oldest building in Inverness. Dates back to 1593. And Kyra, who's one of our team, she's a medium as well. She's never been in the building. She doesn't come from Inverness. She's from through in the east. She never does any research. The National Trust told us nothing. They were like, we'll tell you afterwards, which was fine. She picked up, she went into the room where the shop is, and she goes, this is a kitchen. And I'm like, okay, right, fine. She then went up onto the floor and she says, I'm picking up a little on the first one, picking up on a little girl, blonde-haired girl, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So we came down, we got some stuff in the ground floor when we were finishing off with on the ghost box. We got a female voice coming through, which was completely out of context with everything else that was coming through. And cat balls started going off. I know not everybody likes cat balls, but they're visual and I don't mind them.
That's only if you're from Bristol.
Well, believe it or not, I will admit, even though I got a lot of the old-fashioned type of equipment, I actually do.
I'm going to get my hands peeled for that one, but oh well.
I actually do have cat balls too, so I've used them myself on a few occasions.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
I could only say my cat misses his balls, but there you go. That's another story.
But he's like, right, I'm going to quickly run through the comments. Thanks, Lewis, for sharing the link, Lawrence. It's all right. I love promoting people. That's just why these shows are created. You frightened me, Liam. Be careful next time. Eileen says, I was physically choked at Bannock House and had to leave. Only time ever I've had to step away. Tim Being punched in the stomach at Jedburgh. Oh, God's sake, Eileen. I can hear the high-pitched power buzzing in buildings, drives me mad in department stores. I like my cat balls. Eileen says, watch out, there may be a case about. Aye, well, that case can go and ram it right up there. Aye. So anyway, Liam, what were you saying?
I was just going to say, Eileen, take your cat balls to Inverary, because cat balls at Inverary work. We really do. I mean, I know cat balls. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you can debunk a cat ball because you can clearly work out. And what we always normally we will go and try and see. Well, is there a reason it's triggering? Is there vibration? Is it moving? What's it? What can it be?
Yeah.
Other times it just seems to be not random. Sometimes we seem to be able to get intelligent coming on, and then it stops. We ask it again, it comes on. So, who knows? Maybe it's the human mind. I don't know. But as I said, she was right. She was right about the kitchen. So National Trust said, it's always been the kitchen. And the next day they came back and confirmed, we've checked with other staff. Quite a few of the other staff reported seeing a young girl on the second floor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it was like, brilliant.
Do you know that's the best thing about investigations? Honestly, and that's where I get the goosebumps with EVPs. And when people get stuff, I love watching it. And it's quite ironic because everyone will agree, and even people in the chat, when we're investigating, I think we're all too wrapped up in the adrenaline. So we don't really soak in what's really going on in between us. And it isn't until we actually go back the next day, well, not the next day, because obviously we're all carrying on hungover. So it's like, not the next day, but probably a few days later when we go to review the footage and find that there's wee things that we've missed. Oh my God, why did we not hear that? Did you hear that? I love the buzz of that as well.
Yeah. Well, and when you also have that rare moment like I did, when I captured, well, I think I have shown you the video, Lois, is that video I captured of that black mass I captured at the Crown Point jail. There was, long story short, Liam, was I was actually filming for a new paranormal series that the guy who runs this network was trying to put together. He was going to it wasn't about the evidence, though. He was doing things in a different way. He wanted to have us, well, not us, but, well, not necessarily us, but he wanted to go to a particular location where you had like 5 to 6 different paranormal groups and investigators investigate the same place, not at the same time, but on different occasions, and what results they got, while they were investigating. Now, I was actually the camera operator, but I was still being the investigator that I am, along with another show host. Not on this show, but on a different show. He was filming too, and probably just a few minutes after we started filming. Well, maybe not a few minutes. I would say maybe about an hour after we started filming. We're in a corner part of the hallway, and there's this giant black mass that comes down and covers one of the guy's faces. And the weirdest thing is, because when you think of paranormal evidence, especially video, usually you find it after it's all been filmed. And you think, how did I miss this? Like what you just said, Lois. But this was a rare occasion where I actually saw this in progress through the little monitor of the camera. And I'm like, what the hell is this thing? And I'm trying to search around, like, am I casting a shadow even though it was dark in there? I checked my friend if he was having that. And but the weirdest part, here's the craziest part. He was filming at the same time, and you would have expected he would have got the same thing. It never appeared on his camera, but it occurred on mine. And that wasn't, we weren't expecting something like that. So it's like, let's talk about the adrenaline stuff. We didn't have that adrenaline within us. Yeah. So this really happened when we very least expected it.
Yeah. I always think they've got a rule book and they only show themselves when we're not filming.
Yeah. Oh God!
Because I've had a few experiences where my favorite one was in lockdown. I was doing some Facebook Live walks around Inverness, been in the graveyard. I had literally switched the live off, put my phone in my pocket when I saw a head peeking around the corner of a church. I thought it was a Jakey because the Jakeys go around the other side of the church.
Oh my God, I've not heard that. I've not heard that term in ages.
So I kind of then, that was sort of corner eyes. I turned round to look, and what I saw was a grey mass fly across the graveyard and then just vanish into thin air. And it was just
holy
like,
shit.
oh, fuck, I've not caught it on camera. And every time I've seen a full body, figure walking across a room, again, not filming, just sitting in a building, talking to somebody, and it's like, oh God.
Yeah, it's like some of the best experiences. Some of the best experiences you fail to capture on camera.
Yeah, here's an interesting one, Nick, that everybody in a room saw this with a human eye, but on the various phones and cameras they had, it wasn't picked up, and that was a white aura around a medium. So there was 5 people in the room, all 5 individuals saw this aura with their eyes. They started snapping, taking photos, and not one of the photos it was on.
Oh my God.
And it was just like, you then go, have we got the technology?
Well, I can relate to you on something else like that too, Liam, because, and this is something I'm not sure if I've told everybody about. Although what I'm about to say, this has actually been featured in a book. And I even appeared in a documentary 4 years ago, in which me and another fellow investigator talked about it. We went to a location called the Mineral Springs Hotel. It's located down in Alton, Illinois, which is regarded as one of the it's regarded as one of the most haunted small towns in America. And we had a well-known investigator with, I don't know if you ever heard of Mike Ricksecker before. You know who that is? Or he runs Haunted Road Media. He has his own show too, but he's written dozens of books, and he's of course also a very good friend of ours. But we had a Paracon that day, but then later on there was the investigation that followed. Now, I don't think we chose a perfect night, because that night there was actually a really bad storm that occurred. So you have all that lightning, of course, giving off a lot of that energy. And plus, Alton is right next to the Mississippi River, so that just adds more to it with the energy connecting. Matter of fact, we even briefly had a tornado touchdown from that, so it was a crazy storm. But anyways, we did the investigation, and we were up on the top floor of the building in the hallway, and we looked down. It's pitch black in this place, except if you look all the way down, there's a doorway, and that room had light. And so you have like a little light coming from the bottom slit. And the weirdest thing was we all saw something different. It's like no two sites were alike. They were all different. What I saw was, thanks to that little slit of light, I think that actually kind of helped. I saw what looked like 2 little shoes at first, and then after that started materializing. It starts taking the shape of like a little white gown that looked like somewhere in the early 20th century, probably from 1910s or 20s, I would say. And before you know it, there's this little girl that's standing down the hallway looking at us with blonde hair. And see, I'm used to seeing apparitions. For the others, this was their first time, other than me and Mike Ricksecker. And the craziest thing was, we all had cameras in our hands, and not one of us took. Well, actually, I did try taking a picture, but I didn't take it with a flash because I didn't want to ruin this chance. So when I took the picture of it, you have to remember, it's dark in this hallway. So unfortunately, I failed to capture the apparition even when I tried brightening it, but it still doesn't matter. We all had cameras, and no one ever used them.
Oh my God, that's just difficult. What about you, Nettie? You're sitting in the background and I feel bad. Have you got any questions for Liam?
No, I'm just listening.
You're taking the back seat. You're like, I'm just listening what's going on here. I'm actually quite gutted, folks, because a good friend of mine that I always say hello to, and Liam, he's well worth checking out, is a guy called Craig Stevens. He's for Ghost Bay Paranormal. And he's really, I'd highly recommend him any day, I really do. And I'm quite gutted because obviously Facebook's a pain in the ass with notifications, as we all know. And I just had a look there because I was obviously forgot to send the link to my pal. And I'd noticed that it came up that my good friend Craig, he had obviously said hello, but he said hello in a group that doesn't show comments. I was like, so hello there, honey. I'm so sorry I wasn't ignoring you. Don't listen to Ian because he'll tell you it was. Eileen says, I had ordinary balls. It does say ordinary balls, didn't it? Moving around me 360 degrees in the exercise hall at the Eddie jail. I just wanted to clarify that's what it said. Tim says only one thing better than EVPs is DVP, a full body apparition, more conclusive than anything else. Yeah. Eileen says, where is we Eileen? And our balls always away of it, Liam, when filming stops. It's finished myself. And Eric's put a shocked face because Eileen's talking about balls. Well, Eileen talks about balls, Bri talks about boobies.
I like playing golf it with the golf balls.
Well, yeah. Well, you and your balls and all you. Oh my God, guys! Let me tell you something.
We haven't talked about rods yet.
About
rods.
Oh, don't even get me started in rods. So we've got balls, rods. Welcome to the paranormal world.
Well, you know, another tool I should recommend. This is actually something Jeremy has recommended to I think mostly everybody knows this one, and it's actually kind of a typical tool. Like, you know, it's not expensive or anything. It's pretty simple. Jeremy, who's the owner of this network, Liam, he has suggested using the dog whistle on investigations, because the dog whistle is like you would expect. You blow into it. It's like a what do you call that type of you cannot hear it by the human ear, but dogs can. Well,
I know exactly what you're talking about. In fact, do you know the best person to ask is Bri, and it's because he's fascinated with frequency.
Correct. Yeah.
Hey, Parker.
The dog whistle, they do correspond with a lot of bat frequencies, and you're not allowed to disturb bats. So that could be a little bit of a downer. But
and the fact that your haunted location will suddenly be filled with dogs.
Well, I mean, we've actually tried it ourselves. And the dog whistle, it definitely does trigger a type of response. Because, you know, it is quite questionable, which is if dogs are able to hear it, what are the chances that, you know, particular entities can also hear it? And, we just lost.
Oh, honey. There's Bri. Oh, no, Bri back.
I was going to say, what are the chances of, like, you know, spirits hearing this too?
That's not something you could try in the UK, Nick. Trust me, you'd end up with a building full of dogs over here.
That's true. Well,
you brought something. This is a word of advice, and this is for Liam in case you want to try using the dog whistle, because we know somebody who did something like that, who learned the hard way.
I actually thought for a minute there, Nick, you were going to say about balls or rods. I was
like, no, I was going to say. My advice to you, if you decide to use a dog whistle for an investigation, is do not use it outside. trust me, you will be sorry, because there were two investigators we know of who live in Indiana. They went out to a cemetery at night and they used the dog whistle there. Boy, they certainly got responses, but it was not any paranormal activity. Before you know it, out in the distance, they started hearing all these coyotes howling, and that's when they bolted for the cars.
Oh.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Don't ever use it outside. You will be sorry.
Oh, yeah. Liam, since you've brought up rods, because clearly you want to talk rods, so we'll talk rods.
We use rods all the time. It's something that originally only our mediums used, but actually quite a lot of the team now use them, and we've had quite a lot of success with them. Again, it's another one where we're trying to fathom out: is it us? Are we subconsciously moving the rods, or is it just our energies that are moving the rods? But we've done various tests. We've given the rods to complete strangers who don't know anything, asked questions we know the answers to, tried to trick, answer the same question in a different manner, but constantly getting correct answers. Not always. Sometimes you get garbage, and some people, the rods won't even move. But it is, it's fascinating. We used them at a place called Aldern graveyard. Mm-hmm. So for anyone who knows anything about the witches, Isabel Gowdy is one of the most famous witches in Europe.
Yeah.
Isabel Gowdy was from Aldern. She met the devil in the graveyard at Aldern. And we did, it was actually an event for the local book festival there. And we said, well, I'll tell you what, we'll do an old school one. We'll just use no electronic equipment. We'll turn up with dowsing rods and pendulums, and that's all we use in our senses and whatnot. And there was a lady using the rods, and Isabel, yes, okay, right, fine. She goes, Isabel, are you sad? They crossed for yes. Isabel, do you want a hug? And instead of the rods crossing, the rods went the opposite way and hugged the woman.
Oh my God.
And I was like, well, okay, go figure.
Well, I was actually going to say the same thing. Lawrence has actually made a quite good point. I'm skeptical with the rods, very skeptical, but I think it's because they've no worked for me, so I find them quite. But the way I should kind of look at it even better is like, what doesn't work for me might work for Nick. What doesn't work for Nick might work for you, Liam.
I've used them myself, and it's actually quite an interesting response I get from it. So it's funny you said that. It may not work for you, but it has worked for me in the past because I've used them for years.
Yeah, it is weird. Sometimes they just don't work.
It's everybody that works with something like that. It's just like anything else. It's going to affect people differently.
Yeah, definitely. Right, guys, I'm going to quickly run through these comments. Eric, you're wrong. Hey, Parker, high frequency whistle. We should do frequency again because that is Bry's favourite subject. And if there's anything that you need to know about frequency, that's your man to ask. Yeah, I love the dowsing rods. Island doesn't use rods, might try them. What about pendulums? Now, I was sceptical on pendulums until, obviously, I done a Simply Spooky show one Tuesday night. Now, my partner got me allergy board because I'd been asking to get one. I've no used that side yet, but what I didn't realise was it came with a pendulum. Now, I'd never ever opened that pendulum, never ever used it, and it wasn't until that Tuesday night, and obviously I started to use it, and I was actually quite memorised by it because it worked. Because I asked it if I would still be doing podcasts in 5 years, and it said yes. So I they actually believe me the pendulum. I know what you cheeky bastards are going to say. Hiya, Pickleton!
What I was going to say is I've used pendulums for years, and I find that if it's spirits that I communicate with regularly, I can tell who it is by how the pendulum goes.
Wow.
I got a pendulum of my own. I got a pendulum too, so I've been using that for a while.
Didn't work for me, and Tim says good day.
Tim talk about the dog whistle again with the dog. That's actually, honestly, it's funny, but that's actually a really good question if it could attract a dog man, because
go on, Nick, try it in the woods.
I am only an hour away from where the Beast of Bray Road is said to be, so go to Bray Road, blow the dog whistle, and see what I get. Hopefully, I'm still alive.
Yeah. Nick.
Where's Nick?
But guys, I just want to say it's been a great show, Liam. Thank you so much. I know you're a busy man, but thank you so much for coming on. He'll probably go off and say that'll be the last time that I'll be on that show. But
I'm never coming on this show again.
well, according to my biggest fan, apart from having screaming wains and that, I don't pay attention to my guests. So tonight I didn't pay attention to you, Liam. So there you go. But definitely we will need to get you back. Guys, please go and check Liam out, Highland Paranormal. You're on YouTube as well, aren't you, Liam?
Yeah, Facebook, YouTube, all the usual places. So yeah. Yep,
and I highly recommend don't go to Twitch. But yeah, definitely.
We had a really bad
Bri was howling with laughter. He thought it was the best thing. But no, guys, definitely please check him out. And we will definitely get you back in the show. Next Thursday, we are doing an autism awareness night. So that will be a good one. Next,
real quick about that. I spoke to Don yesterday about it. He has agreed to come on, but he might be late. He might be late for the show because of his work schedule. But he has confirmed to
That's fine. In fact, guys, give me 2 minutes because I don't know what's happening for Frightners. At least I'm an honest host. I don't know what's happening next week for Frightners. I need to run and check. I'll be 2 minutes, guys. Talk among yourselves and don't be talking about me.
It's Eileen.
What? It's no Eileen. No, Eileen's July. She's July. She's coming on in July. Give me 2 seconds. Talk among yourselves and don't talk about that. That Ian will be like that. Lois, she's useless. Doesn't even want to show. In fact, why am I leaving? I can actually check. July 19th. That's my darling.
Who we got to? What's our topic tomorrow night? We've got a guest, Lois.
Leave me alone. After Liam, we've not got a guest for next week. We are talking about mediums versus psychics.
Yes.
So that was one of the subjects that Bri suggested, was medium versus psychic. So it will be an interesting one, folks. So no guests next week. Eileen says, thanks for the chat. I'm going to Bri Road this year. I'll try that. Eric says, night, sleep tight. I hope your bugs bite for your cheek lady. Ella says, good night, Eileen. July 19th.
July 19th.
Really looking forward to that one. Oh, that sounds good. Yep. In fact, that's if I still have a show in July the 18th, because I'm doing the conspiracies of the Vatican. So I might not be I might not be for the 19th, I'll let you know. Kidding on, I will be. And Tuesdays as Hide Behind for us. Yep.
All I
But
gotta say, by the way, all I gotta just say quickly, this talk about Bray Road that I brought up. I mean, I'm almost now tempted of wanting to use the dog whistle. But I don't know exactly what results. Well, I can tell you right now, this would not be a good time to use it anyway, because right now we got all these cicadas basically. So if a dog man wants to hear it, it's definitely not going to hear with all this singing, because we got both broods out right now, these cicadas. So if anything, I'm actually going to be waiting later this year. In fact, Lois, Joe and I had been talking about possibly doing an investigation one of these days when I meet up with him. So we might actually have an investigation. Well, I don't know if we count the actual road because it is still private property, but we might still check it out. So, but I'll let you guys know about the dog whistle. I'll let you guys know how the dog whistle works.
well, you just tell that beast that I need Drew back by the Friday and the Thursday. Right, so just tell him to send you back, because if I don't, I'll have to come and rescue you. Like, I'll be the knight in shining armor.
I'll get a couple other guys, because remember those guys, the 3Js I talked to you about, Lois? They're interested in wanting to take part in it too, because the other Joe also lives in Wisconsin, and now we've kind of been, all five of us have been talking about wanting to put something together about this, but I told them it's going to have to wait till all these cicadas are gone.
What were you saying, Ian?
I said, so basically, Nick needs to give a message to the dog beast from the wee ginger beast.
Oh! I don't like your tone. I think you're an asshole. But see, that's just the love between me and English. It's bliss.
That's tough love right there. Tough love.
Tough love. It's more like a love-hate.
Yeah, that's just Glasgow love for you.
That is Glasgow love. Come and I'll give you a Glasgow kiss.
I'll probably your head back, you girl.
Yeah, I could hear Linda laughing in the background. I love Linda's laugh.
I don't know how we just literally, we were about to end this, and now all of a sudden we have literally went down the rabbit hole.
That's because of that. See, this bloody show gets full of distractions.
Yeah,
Yeah, we've been trying to stuff it down a rabbit hole for years. It hasn't worked yet.
Listen, asshole, this is our second anniversary together this year. I hope you've got me something nice. I love that cheeky laugh. That's what a Glasgow's kiss is.
Yeah, that'd be a hex.
Well, but guys, right, we're going to go because I did say we were going, and then suddenly we went down this big massive rabbit hole. This is what happens, and this is why I love the show. So, Bri, I'll leave it to you tonight. Any last words?
No, I'm looking forward to next week, and everybody else's views on the difference between psychics and mediums.
That'll be a good one. Nettie, what's happening on Sunday?
We've got a show on Sunday.
Oh, what subject you doing?
I think we're going to do the Inquisition.
Awesome. Well, I tell you what, I've got a volunteer. Ian going. Right, guys, we are going to go, and we will catch you all soon. See you next week, guys. Have a good weekend. Stay safe.